When the doctors first discussed my daughter needing a G-tube potentially, I was a little nervous, not so much scared, and apprehensive.
At first, you know, you kind of are a little bit nervous when you find out that your kid needs something.
I felt really objective because for me this was an invasion on the natural process of her life, and I wanted to keep it as natural as I can. So even though it took me all day to feed my child, I still didn't want the G-tube. I thought, you know, it's gonna get better, she just has to get over this hump.
You know, there was so much going on with my son at the time that he needed a G-tube, and he initially had an NG tube going down his nose to feed him.
When I made a decision to move forward with the G-tube, it was almost too late. Shaylin was in the hospital with severe gastritis, fighting for her life. And we had to wait 3 months before we could actually do the procedure because she was so ill and so weak. She was 5 years old and she weighed 18 pounds.
We talked with the doctors, and it turned out that it was going to be the best thing for her to have this G-tube because she was having difficulties feeding. Her weight was very hard to keep on track, so we were a little nervous. We knew something needed to be done, and in the long run, it was easier to have the G-tube versus the NG tube because she kept pulling it out. So those first days at home, I think, to realize that I could do it myself was empowering too. To realize that, hey look, I'm taking care of my child. It's not as hard as I thought it was gonna be. So we were able to keep her, you know, at home and feed her and, you know, watch her get bigger and thrive and developmentally grow, which could have not happened if we hadn't put her G-tube in.
When the G-tube was placed, the nurses came in and they first would demonstrate and then let us take over, me and Dad, and it was pretty simple. It's really easy.
The first days at home were difficult because she was discharged with a lot of medication. And at the time, I was starting school again, and then I had this child at home with, I think it was 8 different medications and different times. But then I really appreciated having the tube because you can just give the medication whenever you need. You don't have to worry what dosage did she actually receive before she spits something up. Do I overdose her? Do I not give her enough? So those issues were basically taken away, and that was great because he didn't have to worry about that anymore.
Putting the G-tube in was the right decision for my family, for my daughter specifically. We didn't make that decision lightly. It's not something that we just made overnight. We thought and explored all of the options, and at that point there weren't very many options to do with her. It was either leave her NG tube in and have her pull it out all the time, where we were having to put it back in. We even tried drip feedings, which, you know, 24 hours a day, where you're just sitting there hooked up to a machine the whole time. And we're like, there's got to be something different. And when they explored that option, we were like, okay, let's do the pros and cons. And the pros outweighed the cons. My daughter's had her tube in for almost 14 years, and we've had very, very minimal problems. Everything we've been able to take care of all on our own.
There's nothing to be scared about. It's easy. It's for your child. It's going to help them grow. No doctor is going to recommend a G-tube and want to put a kid through that if they absolutely don't need it. And if your child needs it, I would say trust the doctor. It's something that in time, when your child outgrows it, it can be taken out. It's not there forever.
The doctors here deal with those children on a daily basis, And they have so many different patients and so many different parents, and they have so many different stories. And they really can help you to get a grip on the situation.
So I know everybody's situation is different. What worked for my family and how we went about everything might be different than what's going to work for yours. They're not going to give bad advice on what can be beneficial to your child. Having a G-tube in is really not scary at all. It's a piece of cake. You just learn what you need to know. The doctors, the staff will help and teach you, and just know that they have the best interest of your child on their minds. They want what's best for your child.
He was born here at Tacoma General. That was a wonderful experience. They took care of me and they took care of him, and he was rushed off to do his surgery, and then back here for his second surgery, the Glenn surgery, at Marybridge. And it's been absolutely wonderful here. He's taken care of so well, and I feel safe here. I'm very safe with him here. There was this whole list of things that could be done, and of course I was coming from the background of wanting to just fully breastfeed, but with his condition it's so far from breastfeeding still as a option or ability for him to do right now, so it was definitely scary. Everybody is so incredible. I love the more people that come in, because I get new information from everybody. It's not overwhelming. They're all very careful not to overwhelm me, but the more faces we see each day, the more cared for we are, and everybody takes such good care of him. A lot of people end up happy with it. Even after the babies or children don't need it anymore, they keep it in for medication or nighttime feeds or just emergency. So I'm thinking if other people like it, there's got to be a reason for that. It's been such a wonderful experience. Everybody, we've been really good here.